Well, so workers affiliated to the South African Policing Union have rejected government's offer of a 4.7% salary increase. The union says its members can't make ends meet due to the high cost of living. SAPU spokesperson Lesiba Thobakgale joins us this evening for more. Lesiba, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. 4.7%, you say, just not good enough for your members?
Yeah, indeed. Greetings to yourself, Naledi, and to your viewers. That is true. When we look at the facts, remember we have done a very substantial economic outlook research that we went and presented within the PSCBC. And our research suggested to us that for workers to really make the ends to meet, the least amount percentage that they could get, it should be at least around 8.1%. And as we speak, as we have started with wage negotiations, definitely wage negotiations, there's positions where we need to move. We have done that as labor. And as we speak, we are at around the issue of 7.5. That is where we are. But we don't see government coming closer to us because they have not moved in the very same pace that we have moved as unions within the PSCBC. And that remains to be a worrying factor to us because what we see as a trend is that in most cases, if the salary increase remains to be low, that money goes to pay medical aids. It doesn't even go to the food basket of the workers. It doesn't even go to be seen as a real salary increase that a worker can say that I've received a salary increase and I'm seeing a change in terms of my take home at the end of the month. So that remains to be a worrying factor. From the process of the PSCBC, we said that we would go to our members. And our members, when we obtained a mandate from them, majority of them, they gave us a mandate that we should reject the offer that the employer has placed. And that offer, Naledi, actually is not even that 4.7, because we know that when we look at the projected CPI for next year, it is projected to be estimated at around 4.5. So that 4.5 was rejected by the workers. And this week, we were at the Central Executive Committee, where the Central Executive Committee as well reflected on the very same issue and also confirming what our members have said, because CEC consists of workers who are coming from different areas. So they also confirmed that we reject this offer. So as we are looking forward to go back to the PSCBC, we will go and be able to present that position of ours as an organization, and we hope that government will really do something, will really show some significant move instead of the movement that they have been coming with it so slowly within the processes of the wage negotiations.
I mean, there's a lot to touch on, because you obviously cite what this 4.7% wage offer it looks like in comparison to the CPI numbers, and what you've got is the government obviously making the complaint that, wow, it is still above CPI. Is reported by Stats SA as 3.8 in September, 4.4 in August this year, and so that 4.7 well able to cover it. The question of affordability obviously is going to be brought to you, right, around how government certainly could afford 7.5. How do you answer that question on, well, where does that money come from?
Government, there's what we call government bonds, Naledi, and we have seen government in most cases where they want to spend money, they always ensure National Treasury as a super department always ensure that that money, it comes out. We can use an example that we have also seen. We know that within the police, which is something that we greatly appreciate, that since the austerity measures were implemented within all government departments, when that policy was adopted by government, they have since cut departmental budgets. But in the police, the way government was able to really make sure that the 10,000 for the 3 years, we're using that as an example, example, that they would reserve money to make sure that they cover that. Ours as workers, it is that the workers are there working for government. They are offering their services to government, and government has a responsibility to make sure that the public servants, the 1.2 million public servants, are well taken care of when it comes to their conditions of service and when it comes to their salary increase. Because we have seen that the challenges that the workers are faced with, remember, the public service itself, it has lesser workers when we compare the issue of the population that they have to give services to. And when we look in the safety and security sector, challenges that has to deal with the head count and so on, meaning that one police officer or one traffic officer has to do a job that is supposed to be done by many thereof. So all of those issues, the least that government can do, Naledi, is to compensate the workers better. That is what we are pleading with government to say in these wage negotiations. Let them do justice. And also remember that the non-implementation of the last leg of the resolution, the 2018 resolution in 2020, the workers are still suffering because during that period, government has since taken a pension break because they did not contribute more towards the growth of the pension of the workers for those periods, even when they implemented what we call the cash gratuity. So when we are counting, it is a period of 2 years. That's what clearly informed us through our economic outlook as SAPU that at least 8.1 would be able to assist, because with a staggering manner for a period of 3 years, then we would be able to recover what the workers have lost. But we don't see government really coming into the party. So we really need to work together. Government needs to apply their minds, because they choose where they want to spend money. They choose where they want to make sure that they will indeed make funds available. And even in these negotiations, because it is before the implementation could come into effect, which is the 1st of April next year. Yeah. And we are already in wage negotiations, which we appreciate. Let them apply their minds. Let them do the right thing. The workers deserve to be paid accordingly. And we remain steadfast on that, Naledi.
You know, Lesiba, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said that we find ourselves really between a rock and a hard place here, right? Because the wage bill, the public wage bill, oh my goodness, it's been a contentious matter for such a long time. For the 2025-2026 financial year, exceeding 750 billion rand, that's an increase of 4.5 with the previous financial year. And yet tomorrow, the police ministry will be releasing crime statistics for the second quarter, and activists are saying we actually need to deploy more officers to Johannesburg. So what do we prioritize? Increasing the wage bill and giving more money to the officers that we already have on the system, but realizing that we still do not have enough capacity, according to some experts that believe actually we need to build the capacity and add to the number of police officers that we have in the country. What do we prioritize?
Maybe let's go back a little bit, Naledi, that in 2020, we signed an agreement that spoke of restructuring, where most of the operational members who are in the offices were supposed to go and do functional duties, really giving the boots on the ground. That has since not been implemented by SAPS management. That was a government decision. And further to that, as we speak, the 10,000 that comes into effect all of these years, those numbers, unfortunately, they are not there to increase the capacity of SAPS. The reality is they are there to go and replace. They are there as replacements of the numbers that South African police services have lost, and they continue to lose every year and every month because there are members who are leaving the SAPS. So government, if indeed they were serious about safety and security, they would make sure that the head count in the public service, broadly so, and specifically within the South African police services and the safety and security sector, that the issue of the head count is not a problem. They would make budget available to make sure that there are no challenges. We cannot say now, because it is December, we start talking only about the head count. The issue of head count has remained to be an issue, as we have seen that the numbers have been going down over the years, even as much as we appreciated the 10,000. So we need to make sure, government needs to make sure they sort out the issue of the head count. And at the very same time, the very same head count, it has expenses, it has the cost of living. They are affected buy everything. There are tax implications that they are faced with. Governments need to balance between the two, because the two are quite important for everyone to be safe in South Africa, to make sure that as well the members who are bringing safety and security in our country, they are also well taken care of. So government, where they have a will, remember when they are counting all of that budget that is being reserved, they are counting the whole public sector, not only the public service. And that is what we have seen. And funny enough, the economic outlook that government presented in council during the wage negotiations, it even went further to go up to salary level 15, whereas in negotiations, we go up to salary level 12, which was being disingenuous of government, because you cannot bring us the costing of the people who are not falling under the scope of the PSCBC in order to come and show us this is how bad the PES is. Who is taking care of the PES? It is government. The policies that they have implemented, if they are affecting anything anyhow, it is them who must account. What we want for our workers is to make sure that the headcount is sorted out, so that one member is not doing a job that is supposed to be done by 3 or 4 members, and also to make sure that their conditions of service, they are well taken care of. I mean, we have police killings, which are also an issue, because the issue of headcount affects that as well, Naledi.
Yeah. Just lastly, before I let you go, I know that you've got quite the busy Sunday evening ahead of you already, Lesiba, but before I let you go, the next step then by SAPU?
No, we are going back to the Public Service Coordinated Bargaining Council. Remember, we are still in wage negotiations. When we went to seek a mandate, and even when the CEC pronounced itself, we were clearly in the process of taking a mandate from our workers. So the next step is that any time from now, we will be going to the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council, and we are going to reject that offer of the employer, formally so in a council process, and then we will take it from there.
But there's no pending strike. I think that's what I'm looking for. No pending strike.
We are not there yet, Naledi. We are still in negotiations. We haven't yet met a stalemate. So we don't want to preempt anything, but we remain steadfast on saying that the workers have mandated us, that we need to push further, and government must come closer to us.
Yeah, and of course, communities will argue that we need police visibility. So the last thing we'd want to see is a dunning of tools. But thank you so much for speaking to us. Lesiba Thobakgale, the spokesperson for the South African Policing Union.